Hey.
Hello.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you said
Hi. Hello. Hey. Hi.
Hi. That sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Great Chats with Kit, a series in partnership with Adobe Express where I profile amazing local creatives. If you haven't watched the other episodes yet, you can check them out on my channel, and please make sure to subscribe so I can share more great artist visits with you. Today I'm visiting Andrew and Chris Yee, designers, artists and twins at Cosmic Neighbour, their collaborative exhibition at Blank Gallery in Chinatown, Sydney, to find out what inspires them, how their culture informs their work, and all of their advice on what makes a great creative collaboration.
Hi, my name is Andrew Yee,
I'm Chris Yee,
and we are artists, designers, and storytellers.
and we are currently at our show Cosmic Neighbour.
So this is my half of Cosmic Neighbour. I make up the cosmic part of Cosmic Neighbour. And these are my cosmic writers. So when I was thinking about it, I was thinking back to these memories that me and Chris would have with all our extended family, all our cousins, kind of sharing Lunar New Year dinner at our grandmother's house. And it was just like, those are some of the most important memories to me because we were all together, all kind of sharing this experience of being Asian Australian, but in a way that felt natural. It didn't feel like, it felt like family. So I wanted to tap into that, but also add in this kind of fantastical narrative and storytelling into it. So I was kind of inspired by stuff like Power Rangers and Kamen Rider to tap into that. So I kind of wanted to tell this story of this kind of cosmic energy falling onto a suburban ride and kind of transforming these siblings into cosmic riders. And that's kind of what we see.
Yeah, so this is my part of the exhibition, Cosmic Neighbour. It's all kind of, with my work exploring Asian tradition, but trying to find a modernity to it. It's something that's quite new and fresh. I sort of borrow motifs, and in this, the feature for this is like these scarf patterns, which borrow a lot from like Hermes, Versace, really classic scarves, but then trying to push my kind of Asian storytelling into it. So from afar, it looks like something that's quite not typically, Lunar New Year with red colors and typical dragons, but something that's a bit more nuanced, but has these stories in it. So I'm always playing with fabric definition and the traditions of ornamentation and trying to break it apart and make it kind of fresh. I'm sort of trying to hero the suburbs. So there's all these flags that are kind of like sports teams, which are actually the suburb names in the area that I'm really familiar with. And I find this beauty in the suburbs and this really rich personality that it feels like every suburb it could be like 2 kilometers away from each other, but there's different narratives, different stories, different champions. And I tried to hero that with a lot of the fabrics and making it like a sports team almost. But yeah, just some loud stuff and my version of Lunar New Year.
When you are from a minority background, a POC background, an Asian background, you're kind of told if you want to do a creative career, you have to be successful. But they don't really show you what success looks like. They just give you that pressure, you have to be successful. So I think for like a lot of young creatives from that background, when they enter, they feel like they need validation, they need success quickly to prove that it's working. And that's like, in our experiences, success isn't always tangible, So I think something like this show, we had an idea for what we wanted Lunar New Year to look like through our lens. And we were lucky to have a curator and a gallery like Alex and Blank Gallery who saw the same vision as us. And I think to kind of make that work, it's really about community, like connecting to other Asian Australian creatives. And just people who kind of have the same experience as you or see those experiences the same. Because it can be really hard because you usually I know when we started, we had each other, but you're kind of like entering this pool alone.
Yeah.
And you find people eventually, but it can be really intimidating at first.
And especially say a show like this, my old sort of more predominantly white Aussie clients would be like, okay, you're Asian, draw this sort of Asian stuff that they perceive as Asian, or very typical kind of graphics. But to me, this is extremely Asian, even though it looks insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To me, this feels like my youth growing up. The same as Andrew, So it's just this hypergraphic stuff. It is definitely Australian, but also Asian.
Yeah.
But not as typical. For me, it's extremely important because when I first entered uni, there was no one from my area at art school. I went to design school. And even then, I could count on my hand how many people in Sydney were Asian, or Asian Australian artists. So I had a really big identity journey where, I worked for the beaches, northern beaches, surf companies, skate companies for a long time, and I couldn't surf or skate. So I was really just trying to find my own identity. So to me, representation is so simple, but just by connecting with someone, whether it's their narrative, their cultural background, is that extra kick you need to make you feel at home amongst somewhere that you could feel unfamiliar and uncomfortable, especially in creative, where it's quite a scary background. And also with creative, what you have to embrace is that there's no real finite ending. It's an evolving story, whether it's new technology, new stories, perspectives, these things are evolving. And it's just by seeing this, widespread of different stories, it's more confidence to sort of get you going as a young upstart and creative. Yeah.
Doing a creative career is intimidating. It can be hard. It can be, there's not a clear guide on how to do it and how to be successful at it. So I think a lot of young creatives, just to see other people doing it and also other people caring about the things they care about. Like even in Chris's work around here, there's banners say Chinatown, Cabramatta. Those are things you don't usually see in art, let alone Australian art. But those are areas that are important to people. They kind of shape the stories of a lot of people in Sydney. So just to show them that there are other people that care about what you care about, and then you can have a career in this, I think is just so important. I guess because we are twins, we both know the stories like telling the same inspirations. So usually we probably start working separately, and then during that process, we start engaging and talking and kind of checking in on each other. So it's at once really together, but also kind of separate. Like it's both.
Yeah, it's like, especially this show, the general theme was Lunar New Year, but then sort of our nuanced interpretation of it all. So we have different personalities, even though we're twins, it's like normal. But our distinct interpretations of something that is quite general, and finding I think it's interesting. Register and sort of approach a similar theme. But yeah, I guess as brothers and friends and that kind of thing, communication is key, transparency. What do you reckon, Edge?
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I think with collaboration, you kind of really have to know your collaborator, like, because you have to know what they want out of it, what you want out of it. And we're twins, so luckily we're both on the same page, but we've built that relationship our whole lives. Yeah, so I definitely think the key to collaboration is knowing who you're collaborating with and just not necessarily being realistic, but being pragmatic with what you want out of it. Because if not, it can lead to a lot of expectations not being met or disagreements. So you kind of got to make the process as smooth as possible and play to your strengths.
Growing up, trying to practice art without much of a support system through school, accessibility is really important. So I think that Adobe Express really is if you're new to sort of creativity or you had an inkling to sort of try it out, it's such a good way to sort of get into creativity and give it a go. Especially with even AI, something that 2 years ago would be quite confronting. It just makes it a lot easier for you to sort of approach, and from beginner level to an expert level, you can make some really cool stuff. So yeah, just accessibility is really important to me.
I want to see more wild stuff because I know that there are now so many tools to help you tell stories. There's so many other people who are doing illustration now
Technology
and connecting.
as well.
Yeah. And as time goes on, I think these images will get more and more specific. And then I just want to see some wild stuff. I want to see people telling their story or the stories they want to tell in a way which is true to them. I think the future is going to be so exciting.
And I think that especially in art, there's such a snobby way of viewing medium where you're like, I'm the best ceramicist, or if you do digital art, you're not a real artist. But I love the idea of embracing technology and mediums, you know? Just it's all about the story, the expression, and the medium. Obviously it's important too, but just being open-minded to allow that in and tell different stories.
If you like this episode, please send it on to a creative friend who might like it too, and stay tuned for more to come. Thanks for watching.